Hello and welcome to the Fixit Shed. So it's springtime and we're nearing the end of my winter project. So I've just got a few odds and ends to take care of and then I'm going to be done with this bike. So let's start off with the side covers. I'm going to try some super glue on this, see if I can glue that back on. See how that works. Pretty gel-like. Let's see. Put a little bit on here. Okay. It says hold in place 10 to 45 seconds. Alright, so it's the next morning. Man, that's a good sign. Alright, so let's try and put it on the bike. Alright, so we glued this back on. I'm still going to be super cautious with it. But I'm going to put a little bit of the silicone grease on it, the same stuff I use for water filter, O-rings, stuff like that. Just going to put a little bit of that on here just to reduce the amount of pressure needed to get it in and out, to minimize the chance of breaking something, re-breaking it. Let's try that. So that's back in. Nope, and that snapped off. So that's not the answer. Alright, so the super glue did not work. So we're going to try some JB Weld. Before I mess with the epoxy, you want to roughen the surface. So I've got some 100 grit sandpaper. You want to make it nice and rough so that the well, JB Weld has something to stick to. So 80 grit would probably be alright. I don't have 80 grit, so I'm using 100 grit. Yeah, you don't want it to be smooth, you want it to be rough so that the JB Weld sticks to it. Alright, so the JB Weld comes with a big mixing tray and the cover and a little mixing stick, so we're set. And you want to be pretty liberal with this. So Alright, so you can kind of see how I have it gooped up around the base. Try to do that all the way around. So we're going to let that set up, see what happens. Alright. Again, this is looking promising. Let's see what happens when we put it on the bike. I have a little bit more faith in this than the super glue. Alright, so let's see how the epoxy holds up on the bike. I didn't hear it crack off. There we go. That seems like a winner. Good deal. So yeah, on this side the rubber grommets are in the cover. So I'm still going to put a little bit of the silicone lube on there to make it a little bit more slippery when you're taking it in and out. Yeah, you don't want to use Vaseline because that will deteriorate the rubber. So you want to use a silicone grease. There's that. And, oh, I should have taken this out first. Alright, so you may remember from early on, this was missing a bolt. So I did get a new bolt for here. I also did buy some new spark plugs for the bike. The old ones were working, but it doesn't hurt to put new ones in, and the old ones were kind of rusty too, so these will look nice and shiny and new. So these are CR6 HSA NGK plugs, and they should be gapped between 24 thousandths and 28 thousandths, and I've already set the gap in them, so let's go ahead and get them installed. So that idle seems a bit rough. I don't remember it running like that. I'm going to put the old spark plugs back in and see. Alright, let's try it again. That seems better. Seems pretty even. Alright, so that seems to be running fine with the old plugs. I'm going to swap out one of the new plugs, maybe I got a bad one, and see how it runs on one new and one old. Yeah, you can hear there's a little bit of a stutter. So let me try the other plug. So yeah, if I turn the idle down, you can hear it's still rough. Okay. So the first new plug was definitely worse. The second one that I put in still doesn't seem great, but if I put both of them in, it has trouble. So, and again, these are both CR6 HSA plugs. The old ones and the new ones are CS6 HSA. I checked the manual. That is the right plug. That's what it calls for. Some of I think the older Rebels, they use CR6 HS. So I did check the gaps on these. They are gapped at between 24 thousandths and 28 thousandths, which is where they're supposed to be. So my other bike, I run iridium plugs, so I'm going to try those and see what happens. Alright, so I did go out and get some of the NGK iridium plugs. These are CR6 HIX, but let's get them in and try them out. Alright, so I really anticipated changing the spark plugs out to be a pretty much non-event. I don't understand exactly what was wrong with the CR6 HSA plugs, but the bike didn't idle well with them in. So the HIX plugs seem to be working just fine, the iridium plugs. The old plugs actually work just fine, but I wanted to change them out just because they're rusty and I'm going to sell the bike and they don't look good. Alright, so that's going to wrap up my work on this bike. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more about this bike, check out this playlist right here. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Take care. Well, and there she goes. So off to a new life in New York. Now, time for the next project. Alright, so what I have here are two 1986 Honda Rebel 450s. So my goal is to get at least one of these back on the road, maybe both. So stay tuned.